Release That Witch, Episode 2, The Witch Anna, Part 1. For the rest of the day, Roland shut himself in his room and carefully combed through this world's memories. Even dinner was sent in by a servant. Driven by a fierce will to survive, he forced down the fear and disorientation of crossing into a strange land. He understood clearly. The more intelligence he gathered, and the sooner, the smaller his risk of exposure. But it had to be said, besides carousing with his pack of young noble wastrels, there was nothing in the fourth prince's head. Search as he might, Roland found no information of value. Nothing on the nobility, nothing on the political situation, nothing on relations with neighboring kingdoms. Even basic common knowledge, city names, the years of great events, refused to match any European history he knew.
No wonder this one was never in the running for the throne. Perhaps the king of Grey Castle knew it too, and dumped him in this miserable corner on purpose. Let him fool around as he likes. The damage stays small.
As for his brothers and sisters, a brief search of memory left Roland not knowing whether to laugh or cry. The eldest brother, a great fighter. The second brother, deeply devious. The third sister, terrifying. The youngest sister, far too clever. That was the entire impression the fourth prince had left behind. More than a decade together, summed up in a handful of words. What forces they had built, who their able lieutenants were, what they excelled at. He knew nothing. 3 months in Border Town, and the local nobles no longer bothered to hide their contempt. The fourth prince truly was no leader. Thankfully, when he left the capital, Wimbledon III had granted him 2 aids, one of letters and one of arms. Without them, he would have been utterly blind. Early the next morning, the maid Tyre reminded him again and again. The minister's assistant wanted an audience. It could not be put off any longer. Following the habits in his memory, he gave the maids behind a familiar pat and told her to have Barov wait in the reception hall. Watching Tyre flee the room with a flaming red face, a thought suddenly struck Roland. If this was to be a farming life in another world, shouldn't it come with some kind of system? He yawned and silently chanted the word system dozens of times in his mind. Nothing happened, not even a fart.
Novels really are all lies.
In the reception hall, Barov had long since worn out his patience. The moment Roland appeared, he hurried forward.
Your Highness, why did you not order the hanging yesterday?
What difference does a day earlier or later make? Sit down, we will talk over breakfast.
Roland clapped his hands and ordered the servants to bring the morning meal. So far, the men matched his memories. The chief knight liked to challenge him to his face. The minister's assistant preferred to speak in private. Whatever else, the loyalty of these two was reliable enough, though most likely it was loyalty to the king.
1 day later, and other witches may come. My prince, this is not like your usual little whims. You cannot simply do as you please.
You two? I thought you of all people could tell rumor from fact.
What rumor?
Wicked witches, emissaries of the devil. Isn't that all the church's propaganda? If we want them to keep their hands off this place, I say we do the opposite. They preach that witches are evil, so we refuse to hunt witches, and we tell the people of this territory that it is all shameless slander spread by the church.
But witches truly are.
Truly evil? Name one example.
The assistant was silent for a moment, as if wondering whether the prince was making sport of him.
Your Highness, we can debate such questions another day. I know you dislike the church, but this kind of resistance will only backfire.
Changing deep-rooted beliefs would not happen in a day. Roland pursed his lips, but let the matter rest. Breakfast was set on the table, a dish of fried bread slices, a plate of fried eggs, and a jar of milk. He filled a cup for the assistant first and pushed it across.
You have not eaten yet, have you? Eat while we talk.
According to the maid, Barov had come begging an audience at dawn. He could not have eaten. Roland had decided to imitate the fourth prince's ways, yes, but change also had to start somewhere, little by little. The minister's assistant was a fine first target. Make your men feel valued, and they will work harder for you. Initiative was always the most efficient engine, was it not? Barov took the cup, but did not drink. He spoke anxiously.
Your Highness, we have trouble. 3 days ago, guards reported finding what looked like a witch's camp in the western forest. They left in a hurry and did not clean up their traces. The guards searched the camp and found this.
He drew a coin from his breast and laid it before Roland. It was no common currency. At least in Roland's memory, he had never seen such a coin. It did not even seem to be made of metal, and holding it, he found, to his astonishment, that the thing was warm. This was no residual heat from the minister's assistant. It was over 40 degrees at least. For an instant, it reminded him of a pocket hand warmer.
What is this?
I had thought it merely some cursed trinket crafted by a witch. But the matter is far graver than that. The design upon it is the seal of the Holy Mountain and the Devil's Eye, the emblem of the Witch Cooperation Association.
Roland rubbed the coin's uneven surface. It was likely fired ceramic. At its center was indeed carved a mountain, 3 triangles side by side, and within them a single eye. The lines were crude, polished by hand. He searched his memory for the Holy Mountain and the Devil's Eye, and for the Witch Cooperation Association. Nothing. The 4th prince had clearly invested 0 points in the occult. Barov had not expected him to know. He went on,
Your Highness, you dismiss the witches because you have never seen a real one. True, they can be wounded, they bleed, they are no harder to kill than you or I, but that is only a witch who cannot fight back. A witch who answers the devil's call gains terrible power, though her life burns short. Ordinary men are no match for her. Once a witch comes of age, even an army would pay a grievous price. Their desires grow beyond all restraint, and in the end, every one of them falls and becomes the devil's claw. That is why the church formed the Judgment Army. Any woman suspected of turning into a witch may be arrested and put to death. The king himself endorsed it, and in truth, these measures have worked. Witch rampages are far rarer now than a century ago. The legend of the Holy Mountain, or the Gates of Hell, comes from the ancient books of that era.
Roland chewed his bread mouthful by mouthful, laughing coldly inside. This world's backdrop differed wildly from his own, yet the course of history was uncannily similar. The church. Always the church. He knew it. Religion was the true claw of the devil, the real wellspring of sin. Execution on mere suspicion, lawmaker, police, judge, and executioner gathered into one hand, all in God's name. That itself was corruption. The prince's own memories of the church's abuses only confirmed it.
The old books record that only by reaching the Holy Mountain can a witch find true peace. There, the backlash of magic cannot touch her, nor can she be trapped by surging desire. Beyond doubt, this so-called Holy Mountain must be the source of all evil, the mortal world's gateway to hell. Only hell, I think, would refuse to punish such degenerates.
And the Witch Cooperation Association? What does it have to do with the Holy Mountain?
Before, witches fled or hid alone. But this association that has appeared in recent years is different. It seeks to gather all witches together and search for the Holy Mountain as one. To that end, its people will even tempt others into becoming witches. You remember the mass disappearance of infant girls at Clearwater Port last year? Rumor says that was their work.